you know, I remember having to almost confess within myself, like, okay, you want to look at me. You know, but this is like so many years before I come out. But it's like that alone moment with you in the computer, just like typing hunkymen.net.
Hunkymen.net. I used to go to straightcollegemen.com.
I went to that one as well.
Yeah.
Okay, what else was there? Frat men.
Frat men. Broke straight boys.
Broke straight boys. Which is like, it's so weird that it was always like, they're straight. But today, they'll give a blowjob.
I think for me, when I saw those videos, though, I was like, they're straight. That means me too. I could be straight as well. You know what I mean?
Oh, but then also do what these guys are doing.
Yeah, like these guys are just straight men who could touch one other man's penis once. And I was like, maybe I could just be like them and just touch a penis once. That could be quite fun.
It is so funny how porn is so taboo.
Yeah.
The only way that we can solve our attitudes about it is by doing, I guess, what we're trying to do here, which is like have a big sort of disruptive campaign and get people sort of thinking about it more. What makes me nervous is, I guess, like before we commit to having like an impact producer involved, it could be just like a silly little idea, like, you know, something that we just do on our social media or whatever. And now it's like, oh no, it's the real deal. Like, we're actually doing this.
Once we walk into that office, it's actually happening.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So there's some paper here, and you got some pens. Are we going to do some work?
Yeah, we're actually going to do some work. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to pick your brains about why you want to do this. Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
So there is a part of me that's like, acknowledges like, I'm 31. I've come to terms with who I am. Like, I'm very confident with who I am and my whole sexual identity journey. Yet there's a part of me that feels like my relationship to porn is like sinful, shameful, and it's like weirdly conflated with like sexual identity, because it's like, as I was discovering that I was gay, I was also discovering porn at the same time, and it was like a wayfinder for me to like actually figure out that I was gay. And I'm like, I want to like have a relationship with porn that's not linked with shame anymore.
Yeah, and because there are probably people who are watching porn in the same way they always have, which is like sneakily watching it by yourself, never talking with anyone about what you watch.
From what I'm hearing is that you're quite keen for people to have a touchstone or a place to start a conversation that is no shame, that people can spring off and have a conversation.
Will you put it that way?
You got
yes,
it.
yes,
Okay,
yes. 100%.
okay. Okay. From an audience perspective, it's interesting because usually the first point of this process is actually doing a decent, quite in-depth audience survey. So because it's cool that it's anecdotal and from your perspective and your friends, but yeah, we need to find out the bigger picture.
It's almost like we've just made a whole bunch of assumptions.
Personally, what are the benefits for the two of you? Like,
We want to leave this project with our careers intact.
Yeah.
you don't want to be just the porn guys forever.
No, we don't do the porn princes.
Or just like, in jail, or like
true.
careerless.
I mean, that would be great in terms of publicity because then there'd be so much attention.
And then we're not getting arrested.
Really?
Okay, you know what? If I can link it back to what we're doing, you know,
No,
like I want to be able to
sure,
link it
sure.
back to my belief, my purpose. Lock me up and throw away the key.
And I'm also prepared for Chris to get arrested.
Sure.
All right, so what's next?
I also really want you to think a bit about what your call to action is. Yeah, what are you actually trying to get people to do in a very succinct sentence?
Okay.
Well, I'm surprised that we're not going to be able to do this whole journey with just assuming a whole bunch of knowledge.
Yeah, I really thought we were experts already, but it turns out there's a lot more we need to find out. There's one thing I know already. Did you know that the Classic, the comedy club, used to be a porn cinema before it was a comedy club?
I feel like I did know that, maybe. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe we should... It is weird that people used to go into cinemas to watch porn.
Yeah, it's buzzy as.
Shall we go talk to, Scott?
Yeah. Yeah, let's just show up.
Could you imagine, like, walking publicly down the street to go see a porn film?
I'd have to pick the right trench coat for the occasion. Hi, Scott.
We're here to see you some porn.
Come on in.
Thank you. We're welcome.
We only just really realised that this used to be a porn cinema before it was a comedy.
And before it was a porn cinema, it was a classic cinema.
Same,
See
the same owner.
See, same, yeah, just here. All new adult features.
Wow.
Screening today.
Oh, look, that's the classic.
This was also an Auckland City Council property, and Sir Les Mills was the mayor at the time. And I know Sir Les Mills sort of liked to occupy the moral high ground.
Wow.
Which is one of the reasons we managed to get hold of this building, because we suggested that we could replace the immoral adult cinema with a very moral comedy club.
And you continue to do only moral comedy.
Only moral comedy at the Classic.
Is this as big as it was?
This is pretty much the size of the room. There was the screen pretty much where you do your comedy up there on that.
Yeah.
Was pretty much where it happened.
This is a crude question. Is there like lotion and tissue? Are you meant to take care of yourself here, or are you meant to load all those into your memory bank and take it home?
I don't know, but we had to... I was one of the people that took the carpet up in here when we demolished what was in here. I attempted to roll it up, but it didn't roll, it snapped. Yeah, so...
That is a really tough job. It is so buzzy, the idea of being, one, in the classic, jerking off, but two, watching porn in a cinema.
Even like all the ways we used to consume porn. Magazines. Do you remember we used to head down to the dairy and be like, hey, can I have one of those sealed magazines?
You used to do that?
One time I bought an FHM for myself.
Did you?
Yeah, to fit in.
Did you know there was a New Zealand porn mag?
Really?
NZX. Steve Crow, who we're about to talk to, made NZX. And I think, from what I've heard, it outsold Playboy.
I'm nervous about being the porn king, but I guess if we're going to learn about porn, we need to learn about whoever...
We need it from His Royal Majesty, His Royal Highness, the Porn King of Aotearoa. It's funny when we talk about New Zealand and porn, the first name that pops up is yours, Steve Crow. How do you feel about that?
It's what it is. Doesn't bother me. You know, the vast majority of people in the porn industry, including the people who own the big companies in the US, nobody knows who they are. They don't use their real names. So I decided if I'm going to do it, it is a business. I'm not going to hide behind a pseudonym, or I'm not going to sit in the back room. I'm here to make money. I'm not ashamed of it, and therefore, to do that, I have to front it.
I mean, what have you seen as the internet's impact on the porn industry?
It's destroyed the professional porn industry. Yeah, I mean, I've released 2,500 porn movies in New Zealand at a time when that was all that was around. Wow. For years and years and years and years. The problem is you've now got a medium and the means with the phones and things where there's so much free content out there. It's also very much, I think, a attitude, a cultural thing, whereas nudity is not a big deal anymore.
On that note, do you think if you put on a boobs on bikes now, would it get the same interest?
No, I don't think anyone would come to it.
No interest? People ask you to do it again, but you're like, no way.
I mean, people say to me, oh, you got out of porn. Why did you get out of porn? Is it because you got so much harassment from the government? That would never have stopped me. The only reason Steve Crow stopped NZX magazine, stopped producing porn movies, stopped the Erotica Expo and stopped boobs on bikes is it was no longer commercially viable. It was a business, not a hobby.
Do you think there'll ever be another porn king in New Zealand? Or a couple of porn kings?
Not while I'm still alive.
Wow! I thought you didn't like it.
Regicide.
Yeah, regicide. No, I don't think so. I can't see how there would ever be an individual that controls such a big proportion of the market as I did back in my time, because now everybody does it.
Did you ever go to boobs on bikes?
No. I feel like you didn't go to boobs on bikes. Boobs on bikes was a thing that just sort of happened to you.
Yeah, it's just in the paper, right?
Yeah.
It just happens to you,
You're
like a flash mob.
Yeah, exactly.
The boobs appear on the bike,
you're
and
having
just bike around.
You're just like, oh my God, suddenly you're like, oh, I'm in a boobs on bikes.
Yeah, they give you a flyer. They're like, boobs on bikes. You're like,
exactly. You don't, yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because it's like, it's so part of that thing of it being salacious and naughty and rebellious and edgy and provocative. And that's the thing I feel like we're really overcoming now, is that like, porn is part of our lives because of the internet. It's no longer this thing that's like, boobs on bikes in the streets.
and it's not like standing in the street being like, oh.
Yes.
It's looking at your phone being like,
Huh. It would be great actually to talk to someone who is like representative of porn now.
Yeah.
You know, because Steve represents what it was, but I'm like, okay, who can talk to us about like what it is now and where it's going?
Yeah, he was the porn king, but we don't even need a porn royal family anymore. We're a porn republic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Viva la porn!
So this is your home office?
This is where all the equipment is kept.
Oh.
So up top, so this is more for in-person bookings. So lube, massage oils, condoms, hair ties, and then sort of especially in regards to digital work, toys are a huge part of it.
Wow.
But yeah, like good toys, ones that look nice on camera, but also at the same time, like not snagging on any of your holes, you're not having any things like that. And then
Beautiful. It's like a chandelier jingling away.
I do a lot of strap-on work. Like this is where I keep all of the dicks.
Wow.
And so yeah, being able to get into work mode and be like, okay, now we're ready to go.
We hear you make porn. We should give you some context maybe as to what we're doing. Eli and I have tasked ourselves with this. I mean, no one really asked us to do this.
No, it's overambitious and it's stupid, but we're going to make a campaign, a porn campaign that's taking a pro-porn stance.
Because we feel like no one's talking about it, but you're talking about it.
I think that's the thing. How do you move it out of the shadows? Like, if we're having this fear-mongering conversation about pornography and we're never going to stop and actually take a genuine look at it, the people who make it, you know, so I really appreciate this opportunity to kind of talk with some people who are driving a campaign that is pro-porn, as opposed to people coming in and being like, how are you a heathen whore? Tell me about it.
Oh, can we cross that question
We'll
off?
take that question off the list.
So from your industry point of view, can you tell us a bit about what mainstream porn is now?
Yep. So, do you guys know much about a company called MindGeek?
No.
So there's a company called MindGeek that was originally called ManWin. That was
ManWin.
set up by two dudes.
Oh, what a surprise!
And so when you think about like Pornhub, YouPorn, RedTube, all of those major sites, they're all owned and operated by the same MindGeek organization. They're buying up everything.
They're like Meta.
Yes, but they are more dark and twisted because at the end of the day, their business model is both an aggregate model and a production model. So that means they're collecting porn and holding it in spaces, not all of which has been lawfully acquired. So there's a huge question about piracy in that space. But one of the difficult things about sites that are run by MindGeek is they also have their production arm. So if you think about it this way, if you're a performer, you're getting paid to make content for this company, but your other content could also be pirated and put on their platform, and they're making money off ad sales for it. So the company itself is making money both off production and off pirated content within the same place. And yeah, your face sums up exactly.
And like on the whole, most people who are accessing porn on PornHub are not paying for it.
No, absolutely not. You know, and that's what's important about having the ethical conversation around sex and sexual content. But I think the other part of it too is because the attitude towards sex workers is that anytime anything bad happens to sex workers, it's their fault. So if you try and talk to the mainstream population about the fact that aggregate porn models are leading to piracy, they're driving down like the rate that people can make in this industry, civilians don't give a fuck. Because it's very much that sense of being like, well, those dumb whores should do something different then, shouldn't they? You shouldn't have gotten into porn if you thought you were going to have a meaningful, viable, respectful career. Like, as soon as we take the stigma away from it and we look at workers' rights, this is really fucked up.
Do you think New Zealanders know where to find porn beyond PornHub?
Depending on the age, when we think about, like, how is it that Gen X and baby boomers go about finding porn, I think they have no idea how to find porn. I think they, you know...
There's a charity in that.
Honestly, yeah.
Outreach programs to teach boomers how to watch the right porn. Maybe that's what our campaign should be.
We're trying to land on like a sort of motto that could sort of sum up the attitude that we should have around porn. Apart from Jesus loves sluts.
Jesus loves sluts.
Get amongst it. But I think the other part of it is digging deep into what you personally like. And that may not currently be available in the pornographic world. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get into it and start making your own. Custom, consensual content. Absolutely. Artisanal.
Artisanal.
Ethically sourced.
Free range.
Yes.
Free range porn that you pay for. It's like that on any industry in this world now. Like clothes, food, car, fuel, whatever. And for some reason, we don't care about porn.
we don't care about sex workers. And, you know, that's the root of it. Why are people not outraged at what's going on? Why are people not advocating hard for this sort of thing? It's because we don't care about sex workers, because we don't see them as people.
It does make you think, hey, like, we just presume that porn should have been free. Like, it's just this, you know, assumption that you make because of internet porn, but it's only a relatively new concept in terms of the history of porn.
I know, and I have just been like, click, 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 I'm here at the porn buffet, I deserve it all for free, yum, 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 but that's not how it should be.
It does make me excited, though, about, like, learning more about this industry and specifically what's going on here in Aotearoa.
Because you know that there was a gay porn made here, right?
Oh, that's right.
There's a gay porn film made in Auckland, it's called John.
Yes.
The director's this woman called Astrid Glitter.
Now that's a porn name.
I know, that's the name I want to know more about.
Well, job number 1, get our hands on John.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, find the movie John. And number 3, sorry, I'm acting like a maniac. I'm just so excited we're doing this.
Me too.
Se acaba a vista pro mar, brisa tão leve as cores.